Tyler's very smart. You know what he's done. He started out, with these plays, and church buses would pull up, packed, and he's parlayed it into bought his own jet. You can buy a jet, you got money. But at the same time, for me, just imagery is...
Tyler Perry is undeniably one of Hollywood's most successful black filmmakers. But there's a growing sentiment among top black actors to steer clear of his films. Despite Perry's incredible journey from being homeless to owning a major studio and a private jet, many feel that his work does not do justice to black culture. Critics argue that his films often portray black men in a negative light, depicting them as weak, problematic, or outright villains, especially dark-skinned characters. This has not gone unnoticed, and even major directors like Spike Lee have been vocal about it.
Yet, if those films, we're talking about Tyler Perry at this point. No, look, I'm not saying we're talking, let's not give them fodder for tabloid. I'm not saying we're talking about Tyler Perry, but those are the shows that we're talking about. If we're talking about that, and we look at the numbers that come and see his movies, that view the shows on TBS, my question is that in fact maybe what black America wants to see?
A large part.
Look, I hear a lot of no's and ahs, but a lot of people watching it.
Here's the thing, though, because we've had this discussion back and forth, because when John Singleton, people came out to see Boys in the Hood, he did Rosewood, nobody showed up. So a lot of this is on us. A lot of this is on us. You vote with your pocketbook, your wallet, you vote with...
Spike, a giant in black cinema himself, hasn't held back, famously calling out Perry's work as coonery and buffoonery. He believes it perpetuates harmful stereotypes and doesn't represent black people in an empowering way. His words carry weight, given his connections with A-list actors like Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson. The rift between Spike and Perry became public around 2009, with Spike openly criticizing Perry's work for playing into outdated depictions of black life that echoed the kind of lowbrow humor seen on old sitcoms.
For what we were talking about earlier before you got here, about there was a lot made of the, and I know you may say, or a lot of people would say they don't want to get into it, but it's a perfect transition with some of the things that you said about Tyler Perry, because a lot of people would say, well, Tyler Perry is someone who is opening doors potentially for opportunities that Hollywood would have normally passed on, and you were pretty tough on Tyler Perry.
My man.
You were three my man.
Three my mans? I'm in trouble.
My man.
Four.
I have never ever said that Tyler Perry was not a great businessman. I never ever said that Tyler Perry did not provide many jobs for people of color. And in fact, me and Tyler Perry are cool. So there's no beef between us. It's been, supposed beef between us. Him and I were together. There's no absolutely static or ill feelings between me and Tyler Perry.
You just took exception, I think the quote was, you took exception with the content of some of his films.
Yes, but I made that statement like almost 5 years ago.
But here's the thing, Spike, and I take exception with his show that he does on the radio. And we might get on the radio and talk shit about it. We might get on the radio and talk shit about Syph, but we're all cool and there's a mutual respect. I think because you're Spike Lee and because your brand, the Spike Lee brand, the 40 Acres and a Mule brand, has been synonymous with social commentary through film, or taking issue with someone who's doing buffoonery and coonery. I think that when you come out and speak, it's automatically assumed that you're taking exception to someone when you're really just providing your opinion.
Well, when I do say stuff like that, I always say I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody but myself. I've never, ever, ever said I'm speaking on behalf of 45 million African Americans. I say, this is my opinion,
While Perry fired back, telling Spike to go straight to hell and accusing him of unfairly targeting other influential figures like Oprah, many in the industry saw merit in Spike's critique. Chris Rock, another celebrated figure in entertainment, pointed out that Perry's movies rarely feature positive, respectful, dark-skinned black male characters. Rock joked that if Tupac were alive, he'd probably be cast as the bad, dark-skinned boyfriend in a Perry movie, highlighting the lack of diverse roles in his films.
There are some who don't understand Perry's work and dismiss it, many of them African Americans. They find characters like Medea, Mr. Brown, demeaning caricatures, racial stereotypes.
Spike Lee has said, and I quote, "I think there's a lot of stuff out today that is coonery and buffoonery. I see ads for Meet the Browns and House of Pain, and I'm scratching my head. We got a black president and we're going back. The image is troubling and it harkens back to Amos and Andy."
Right.
He's talking about you.
I would love to read that to my fan base. Let me tell you what Medea, Brown, all these characters are bait. Disarming, charming, make you laugh, bait. So I can slap Medea in something and talk about God, love, faith, forgiveness, family, any of those things, you know? So yeah, that thing, you know, that pisses me off. It really does, because it's so insulting. It's attitudes like that make Hollywood think that these people do not exist, and that's why there's no material speaking to them, speaking to us.
Further fueling criticism are whispers from behind the scenes about a toxic work environment, religious pressure on set, and even questionable stances on LGBTQ+ issues. Many feel that despite Perry's success, he hasn't leveraged his platform to uplift a wider range of voices or offer more nuanced representations.
Or is there a shuffling that you could literally shuffle these scenes anywhere you wanted to, because you have such heavy content, and then you relieve us by going to this hysterical comedy, then we go back to the heaviness. But I keep thinking that, did you ever move any of these scenes around, play around with it?
No, I didn't. It's written that way. They're very deliberate. The minute I feel like a scene is getting too heavy, because I know this audience so well, it's like, okay, time to laugh. So let's bring in the big guns. Let's bring in Medea. And so that's how I write. I write from that perspective, where I can go from dramatic to comedy. It drives critics crazy, but it works with the audience.
No, well, no. I mean, like I said, get really heavy. I appreciate the levity. You know, it's a relief, because you know, I have a problem like watching Derek break down. To me, it's just like, you know, like, I mean, he's such a tremendous actor. But it was so great that
it's time to come out of it.
Exactly, a little bit. No, and when I think one of my favorite actors has always been Derek, and I think that's a no-brainer for the role. You need somebody solid in a scene like that. But in the role of Keisha, I can't imagine that somebody would say, hey, we need to get, for that role, I didn't see her ever doing that.
Yeah, but you know what, I was working with her on House of Pain, and she's such a delightful person that I knew she needed an opportunity to show people she can do so many more things. And she auditioned for it, and I was just like, okay. And I'm like, if you're ready, I'm ready too. So yeah, she's fantastic at it.
You know your audience. I mean, I know you have a huge fan base online. It's huge. You know, just they're everywhere, and you see like spider.
So, why do the best black actors refuse to work with him? The answer lies in a desire for authentic, diverse roles that showcase the complexity of black life without relying on tired tropes.
Punch the hell out of you. Say something else.
That is my answer to Spike Lee. Go to hell. Go.
I will punch the hell out of you. Say something else.
Let me just say this about Spike, anybody else, all the critics, anybody else. You know, it's only black people that do this to each other. I have never seen Jewish people complaining about Seinfeld. I've never seen Italian people complaining about The Sopranos. It's only us as Negroes that do this to each other. And I can't fix it. Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois did it. You know, Langston Hughes said that Zora Neale Hurston was a new version of the dark. This woman wrote Their Eyes Were Watching God. She spoke from a Southern point of view. Here Langston is in New York with his Harlem slickness, and he couldn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's kind of the same thing. I speak from the South. People love it. Why in the hell would I say?
What do you think? Is Perry unfairly criticized, or should he take a more nuanced approach to filmmaking? Comment below with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to Celeb Titbits for the latest gossip.